Well, hey friend, Darren here with another X tutorial, and yeah, in this video we're talking about images inside of Thunkable. And so to get started, I have a little project I've been working on, but we're basically going to start from scratch and talk about a few of the different things that go into working with images inside of Thunkable. Now, the first thing you might do is add the image component. All right, so this is actually a component where you can add images. And here we can come over to our properties, click on picture, and we see there's actually two options here. So we can either upload a file or type in a URL. So that's two options for us. So let's go ahead and find a picture to actually add in here to demonstrate. So if we go to Google, let's just type in Thunkable here, and then we can go over to the images, and right here, let's use the Thunkable beaver here. If I click on him, and then I can right click, and I'll go down to Open Image in New Tab. What this will do is it'll pull up only the image inside of the browser. And then at the top here, what this does is it gives me a URL, and then I can now copy this into the picture property right here, paste that in. That's going to bring the Thunkable beaver, and now that's a part of my project here. And I can increase this a little bit for us. Increase the height and the width. Those are properties that I have at my disposal. Now say we wanted to actually upload an image. Well, we can do that as well. So let's go back over to our image here. I can right click and I'll say save image as. And this will actually save it to my computer. I'll save it to my desktop. And then now we can go back and I can actually just upload that image here. So let me upload the file. Go to my desktop, grab it, open. So now this picture is actually stored as a file inside of this project. We see the Thunkable beaver there. So we can add images with the image component, but what you might not know is we can actually put the image in a lot of other places. So if we look at like a button, we can add a button here. And a button is a component where you can actually update the background picture. So if I were to, let's paste that URL again. Now you see here on the button, you can actually see the Thunkable beaver back there. And the same thing with like the screen. The screen, we can also update the background picture. And we can see, the Thunkable beaver taking up the background of our screen now. So not only can we add images through the image component, but there are a lot of other components like the button, the screen, the row and column components. I know you can add the background images too. So those are great if you want to do any kind of like background, pretty much anywhere where you can change like the color, you can do like the background image. So there's a lot of ways you can implement images in your app. There's a lot of places you can add them. So now that you have the picture added, there are a few things that you can change. We already looked at changing like the height and the width. You can adjust the margin and the padding. These are all very basic things when it comes to these different components. A lot of them have options to add like a border. So you have a border to your image. But one thing that is kind of unique to images is they have the resize mode. The same thing on when you set it as a background. It'll be called the background picture resize mode. So let's actually go to the image documentation, and I'll have this linked in the description, and we can look at the definitions for the resize mode. So let me scroll down here. All right, so there are 5 options, and you can see it here actually using a different version of Thunkable beaver with these awesome shades on. So we see this little gray box is like our container for the image, and then this is the setting. So center, we'll put it in the center of the image, or center of the container. The cover will make it, fill the height of the container, even though it might overlap the width of the container, so it might go outside of it. Contain will make it be contained within the container. So here it's using the width, but basically it'll try to get as big as it can without overlapping any of the edges. Repeat will repeat it if it's smaller than the container, and then stretch will keep it within the container but fill all of the edges. So you can see here it's filling the height and it's filling the width. So those are the different options. Honestly, when I'm doing this, I usually do not think super hard about it. And when I come to the background picture resize, I just click one until it does what I want. And sometimes it doesn't work. So that's when you come in to start adjusting the height and the width. And yeah, you just kind of have to play around with it a little bit. I haven't gotten everything down to a science just yet. So again, that documentation link will be down in the description. So this video is really starting off a series of videos. I like to do my things in chunks of videos. And so here we're talking all about images. And so the next thing I really want to get into is storing images. And so we're going to get into what types of variables we can store things in, what components are available to us, what different strategies can we use to store variables. Another thing that I want to do in this series is I've had a lot of you ask me to make a wallpaper app, so a way where people can get wallpapers on their phone from your app, and we're going to see if we can actually manage those outside of the app, so we can kind of customize those and randomize them for our users. So I'm really looking forward to all of this, but what I want to ask you is, what questions do you have about images? Do you have any kind of tricky situations in your app? I'd love to hear from you what questions you have, and so that I can work these in to my future videos as these start coming out. And if you are just getting started with your app, I've been working on teaching these apps to this YouTube channel for a while now, and what I've created is really a guide that kind of shows you the process of making your app. So taking whatever idea you have and showing you step by step how to make that into an app that can actually be published to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. And that's called my Idea to App Store Guide. And it's completely free. Just follow the link that's in the top of the description down below, and you can go and snag that step-by-step guide. So grab that guide if you're interested, and let me know in the comments what questions you have about images. And with that, I will say happy coding.